Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa. Kulachuramani Sava Shastra Siddhanta Vet Ananta Shri Vibhushita Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Rupanuga Guru Vargya ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Brinda ki jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda ki jai. Samadaita Vaishnava Mandali ki jai. Kol Kartel ki jai. Shri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. So welcome everyone to our Sunday afternoon discussion. Broadcast from the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math East London branch. And as normal, we're going through at the moment, going through the books of our founder Acharya, Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And currently we are on volume 2 of the Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Sri Bhakti Rakshak Divyabani. This is chapter 11, Loving Surrender. But it's a short chapter, so I think we may have to start the volume 3. Dark Age Room knows where that is. So we want to redo the songbook again, because there's a lot of songs in later versions that are not in the version that we have. But I'd like to publish them so we don't have to put them in the spiral, because they just fall apart after a while. But I don't want them doing that either, like falling over. So we have to try and find some solution to that. Saraswati showed me the songbook that they use in Venezuela, and it's just like a book basically, but it opens like nicely.
I used to have that book in this gun. It was a spiral, but it was plastic. All the pages were plastic. So
yeah, that's really expensive to publish like that, though. Like prohibitively expensive. You'd be looking at like 40 quid for one. I mean, unless you were to make like thousands of them, and we don't really have. What are we going to do with thousands of songbooks?
I think they got them on them. They got the thing on the screen now.
Yeah, but we're not that sophisticated that we can do that. Yeah.
She should be showing us the other day. They have a stamp of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur printed in India now. So
yeah, it was published this week, commemorative for his 150th appearance, and also a 150 rupee coin as well with Saraswati Thakur's face on it.
Oh, that's good. Are you going to try and get rid of that?
I'll try. I'm going to try. Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's going to buy them all up.
No, I don't know. And I have for the 500th anniversary of Lord Chaitanya, they published a stamp with Lord Chaitanya on there, and I got the commemorative first edition of that, which was in a little pack,
You still got that?
I still have that, yeah. That's very nice. And they also I haven't got this, but they made one for Prabhupada's 50th anniversary as well. This is what happens when you have a strong pro-Hindu Prime Minister, isn't it? Is he Prime Minister or President? Prime Minister, yeah. Okay, anyhow, so this is chapter 11. It's called Loving Surrender. And this is from Srila Sridhar Maharaj's English talks between 1981 and 1988. Loving Surrender. Knowledge is our enemy, because knowledge in this world is all misleading. Its very basis is misleading. However spacious it may be, it is the negligible part of the infinite. We have collected, gathered, and pushed into our brain all misleading misrepresentation. Our brains are full of misleading maya, misunderstanding. So that is our enemy. We have to clear these things out and put in fresh things that are indented from the other world by pure sources. So, this is called Dibya Gyan. Dibya Gyan means revealed truth, revealed, higher revealed spiritual truth, not truth that has been gathered by, experimentation or experience of this material world. The theoretical is one thing, the practical another. Srila Rupa Goswami has quoted, Jnanata sulabha muktir bhuktir yagyadi punyataha sayam sadhana sahasre hari bhakti sudurlabha. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Mahaprabhu says, by practice of enlightenment, Gyan, Mahadev. Mahadev says, by practice of enlightenment, Gyan, liberation, is attained easily enough. By pious work such as sacrifice, yajna, etc., worldly pleasure in the next life is attained easily enough. But devotion for the Supreme Lord, Hari Bhakti, is very rarely attained. By cultivating our knowledge of soul, we can attain mukti, that is, emancipation or liberation from miscalculation, relatively easy. Though it is not so easy, still considering the wicked nature of the environment, in a general sense, one can easily renounce everything by elimination, all elimination, for reaching something like deep sleep, that is mukti, permanent sound sleep. And we can gather our things of enjoyment by yajna, altruistic action. If we take altruistic action, then as a reaction, they will come back to us for our satisfaction and pleasure. But our real wealth, devotion to Hari, is not so easily attained. Sadhana sahasrai. Despite thousands of practices by the aspirant, still it is sudurlabha. It may or may not be acquired. Because that is to acquire friendship with the autocracy. Our enjoyment is labor and live. If we loan some labor to another, then that may come back to us. So by the help of our labor and by the distribution of that labor, we can easily get future enjoyment. Also by practicing our sincere disgust with the present mortal environment, we can encourage our ego towards salvation. That is complete renunciation, cutting off all connection with the environment, samadhi, just like sound sleep, but to have affectionate connection with the autocratic infinite, that is hardly to be acquired. Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha, and the gradual process of how one is to acquire that is also traced in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kleshagni Subhada Moksha Laguta Krit Sudurlabha Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karshini Chasa. Kleshagni, all the afflicting tendencies in your mind gradually diminish. So many things, the proposal of subtle finer, mundane happiness may come to try and dissuade you from the path. They are obstacles, and your sincere negligence to them develops. Shubhada, all auspiciousness is given to you. Moksha lagutta krit. The third result is that you shall trace that mukti, the result of mere renunciation, that is, relief from the influence of the negative side, now appears to be a very small achievement. The consciousness will awaken in you that mere withdrawal from the negative side is a very insignificant achievement. Moksha lagutta krit sudurlabha. If you can only feel or experience that the goal of renunciation is insignificant, it is of a lower order, does that mean that you will get bhakti? So, if you feel or experience that the goal of renunciation is insignificant, that it's of a lower order, does that mean that you will get bhakti? No. There is no such guarantee. Even at that stage, bhakti remains far away from you. Sandrananda Visheshatma. Then, if somehow by chance you come in connection with the reality, you will find some fundamental awakenment, that inner happiness is approaching you. Sri Krishna Karshani Chasha. And further, if you can continue your devotional activity in a proper line, you will find that he is coming to you as Krishna himself. In the conception of Krishna consciousness, the Krishna concept is coming to you as Krishna himself. Krishna means the full embodiment of all types of ecstasy. That is approaching, or you are being allowed to have his nearer conception as the fulfillment of your devotional activities of life. In this way, things progress. So, die to live. Dive deep into reality. Jnana Shunya Bhakti. The area of surrender is so high, noble, great, and fulfilling. That can only take us to the plane of love and affection. If we hope to see and to live in that plane of affection and love, not the mundane affection and love, but the love of the Absolute, then we must accept complete surrender at his disposal, at his mercy. The reaction comes as love. With your highest contribution of faith towards him, he will be aroused and he will come to accept you on his lap. So no risk, no gain. And that is risk towards the whole. Devotion proper. It is not merely a sum total of some certain activities or a type of study. Never. Practically, it is concerned with the soul, with the inner existence of us. Giving and taking must take place from the innermost part of our heart. It is not a game to play. No superficial knowledge or bodily or mental labor can touch it. It is the dealing of the heart to heart, and that is wholesale. Jnane prayasam udapasya. In this world, we are proud of our mania for knowledge and worldly energy, bodily or mental energy, and knowledge about so many falsified things. But he can withdraw everything. Scientists may have discovered a certain law, but if he withdraws it, it will be nowhere. Nothing is possible unless backed by his will. Let there be water, there was water. Let there be light, there was light. If we can find such faith in this, then we shall perceive that everything is designed. and destined by him. So what is the unity of some provisional incident? If he wishes, he may make or mar. The law may be reversed by his sweet will. The origin of the world is such. He is an independent designer, like a great master hypnotist. So that's the end of that chapter. There is actually one more chapter, also very short. But does anyone have anything they want to ask or say about that? What we've just heard?
That's coming into contact with reality, mean taking shelter from a pure devotee as well?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, there is no other way. Direct connection with Krishna is not possible. Only through Krishna's devotee can we move towards Krishna, and that will be more or less depending on the type of devotee that we surrender to. So, then the Guru Maharaj says, the Uttam Adhikari Guru, he has firmly established in the spiritual world and extending his grace, extending his hand to us from there and taking us up. Madhyam Adhikari Guru, 1 foot here, 1 foot there, and helping to take others there. And Kanishta Adhikari Guru, both feet here, but looking towards there and saying, come on, let's go there, let's all go there. So, and Guru Maharaj says all can do that service, Guru service, but Srila Prabhupada writes in many places in his books that if you take shelter of a Kanishta Adhikari Guru, then you won't be able to progress more than him. You won't be able to become more than a Kanishta Adhikari. So, but that's not a set thing also. The Guru Shiksha line is our line. Our line is Shiksha. So taking shelter of the higher teacher doesn't mean you're barred from that if you take your diksha from a Kanishta Adhikari. Doesn't mean you're barred from the association or shelter of a higher guru. It is an organic thing. It's not, like one cancels out the other or something like that. Because everything is about shiksha, actually. And shiksha meaning instruction, the instruction, or dibya gyan, the knowledge, descending knowledge that is coming down. We are to try and follow that. And as Guru Maharaj says at the beginning of that chapter, that must be in a practical way, not just a theoretical way. So, like maybe it was one of these chapters, I forget, I was reading it recently, maybe you can remember, but someone saying to Guru Maharaj, when someone takes initiation, their karma stops, and Guru Maharaj says, where do you hear that their karma stops? He said, he said, it's time to leave the theoretical world and enter into the reality. We don't see that in reality. That, that means you become like a super spiritualized person at the time of initiation, right? That the laws of nature don't affect you anymore. The law of karma doesn't affect you anymore. No. He says, that maybe that's told something like that to encourage us. But the reality is that, no, there are so many more steps that you have to take. That's just the first step. So, like you may say that if someone takes the shelter of a good doctor, then his cure is guaranteed, you can say. He's already cured, because he's under this particular doctor. But in practical sense, he still has to take the medicine prescribed, follow the diet that the doctor ordered, and do all the like follow what the doctor instructs. So similarly, just taking shelter of a guru doesn't mean that that's it in itself. That next day a chariot from Vaikuntha is coming to take you but there. You have to follow the Guru. You have to understand their
So what's the
Shikha.
difference between Diksha and Shiksha?
So Diksha,
You told us some.
yeah, so Diksha is, you can say in one sense, more or less a formality. But it means, but not just a formality, that at the time of initiation it is told that Krishna accepts the disciple as good as himself. So it means that you've been accepted into the line. You've been accepted into the line by a guru.
Diksha, yeah.
That's Diksha, yeah. And that Saraswat Thakur says, Diksha means the distribution of Dibya Gyan to the disciple. So coming through the disciplic succession, the disciple gets that divine knowledge. But it's a grant, if you like. It's a grant. So you can say the Diksha Guru are those agents that have been, ordained for that purpose, if you like, you know. So just like, if you enter let's say the King's Guard, right, the personal regiment that protects the king, then, when you move into that, the like general or whoever it is of that regiment, there's probably some like ceremony welcoming you in as part of that, So you can say in a sense, Diksha's like that. And in most cases, the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are the same. In most cases.
So Shiksha, is it higher or?
Shiksha is everything, actually. It can be higher, but Shiksha means the ongoing revelation of the truth, or Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means knowledge of what is what. So we see examples of that. But as I said, generally, one's initiating guru, Diksha Guru, and Shiksha Guru are the same person. But after the disappearance of the Diksha Guru, then we may find out our continued Shiksha in another Vaishnava. And we have to be alert to see, oh yes, the same line is coming, the same teaching is coming here. So some help may be necessary in understanding that. But yeah,
with Diksha, does it mean that the individual who's taking Diksha is taking his responsibilities more seriously?
Or should be, yeah. Should be. It's not a fashion. I've got a guru, like, we don't like to say it, but when Srila Gurudev was in Ireland and he initiated the devotees over there, that night they all went down the pub to celebrate with a few Guinnesses. So that's actually the truth. They didn't understand really what was happening. And also we see, like in the case of Srila Prabhupada, when his first disciples in New York, they, at the time of after initiation, he made a sign and stuck it on the wall, right? All initiated disciples must follow these 4 regulative principles, must chant 16 rounds every day. And some of them are like, oh, I didn't know it meant that. I didn't know I was signing up for that. So that's that's actually the case. There has to be some qualification for Diksha.
But no one actually took Prabhupada's place. No one took his place.
No. Well, some devotees, they took Srila Sridhar Maharaj as Shiksha Guru after Prabhupada, and some Srila Govinda Maharaj, and other Vaishnavas. And some of them were just satisfied with what they had from Prabhupada, they didn't feel they needed any further Shiksha. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, actually, Srila Bhakti, I was just reading the other day, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that devotee who thinks that they only have one guru and only need one guru, it's very unlikely that they'll make much progress in this life. So we should be eager to find as many Vaishnavas that can like give us shelter as possible. But you know, we shouldn't be you know, the fantasists. We shouldn't be fantasists. The scriptures give us some indication about who's a proper Vaishnava and so on, you know, so.
Yes, Prabhu Devashis, if you observe our Guru Parampara, Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj initiated Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswat. So he's Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswat Thakur Guru Gaura Kishore Das is Siksha and Diksha both. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswat Thakur initiated Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj.
Yeah.
So Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta is Siksha and Diksha both.
Yeah.
Similarly, all is coming.
Well, yeah, but actually
Same Guru, no?
we hear from Guru Maharaj that Saraswati Thakur considered substantially Bhaktivinoda Thakur as his guru by Shiksha, and it's only because that a father cannot give diksha to the son that Bhaktivinoda chose Gaur Kishore Babaji to be his diksha guru.
This is only like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he chose Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj as Siksha Guru line.
Yes, because his diksha guru was Bipin Bihari Goswami.
Yeah.
And there was some difference between them.
So we don't have Bipin Bihari Maharaj on the altar. We have Jagannath Das Babaji.
Because it's
otherwise others are all Siksha, Diksha, same Guru.
But Guru Parampara is more or less a formal thing, you know, a formal line. And that may be, you know, like if we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find that many devotees had many Shiksha gurus. And also, like I said, when the Diksha guru is no longer present. So like we find that Narottam Thakur, he was to study Srimad Bhagavatam by the order of Mahaprabhu. Who through a dream told him to study Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit, and he came to Gadadhar Pandit, and Gadadhar said, "Well, yes, I can teach you Bhagavatam, but I'm afraid that my copy of Bhagavatam, all the pages have been washed away by my tears when I've been reading it, and that you can't read it anymore. So you're going to have to go to Bengal and get a new copy of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then I can teach you." So Narottam went back to Bengal, and you know, it wasn't like you go to the bookshop and buy one. Yeah, somebody has to like scribe it for you. You know, somebody has to actually take a copy of the Bhagavatam, root copy, and then copy every page. So it takes a little while. And when Narottam returned, Gadadhar Pandit already passed away. But by Mahaprabhu's grace and the grace of Gadadhar Pandit, mysteriously, he became fully conversant with Srimad Bhagavatam and was considered to be the greatest preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam at that time. So there are many different, you can say, lines of transmission. And the main thing is that they are Vaishnava, and we find, you know, that many of Mahaprabhu's associates, it's not like they all lined up only to take initiation from Mahaprabhu. Most of them didn't. Prakeshwara Pandit and maybe a few others were direct disciples of Mahaprabhu. Others were disciples of, you know, other Goswamis and so on. But they all together, because, you know, the line is the same, the teaching is the same. So like Srila Govinda Maharaj said, when in the early days when I'm with Guru Maharaj, then we're all serving together. The disciples of Madhav Maharaj, disciples of Paramahansa Maharaj, the disciples of Madhusudan Maharaj, and disciples of Guru Maharaj, Jajva Maharaj, and so on. We're all serving together, and nobody asked the other, "Who's your guru?" So it wasn't even a question, because we all identified ourselves as being Mahaprabhu's men under Saraswati Thakur's command. You know, then it wasn't a a question. There's no suspicion there, you know. Who's your guru? Oh, well, yeah, you know, not so keen on that one, you know. There wasn't any of that, not at all. And that's how it should be. There shouldn't be suspicion. Who is giving that same knowledge to others, and who is inspired by that? We can't say, you know. We can't say. There are so many, after Srila Govinda Maharaj, there are so many of his disciples and disciples of his disciples who are giving initiation to. And who's to say that their inspiration is not true? It's certainly not me. Then, you know, that Mahaprabhu's order. It's Mahaprabhu's order. Become Guru and liberate this land, he said. And don't think you'll be overcome by, you know, some kind of false prestige of being a guru. So because if you're real, then you can find me there. I'll be there backing you, Mahaprabhu says to his devotees. So it's actually incumbent on all Vaishnavas to be guru, either Diksha or Shiksha guru, as much as possible.
When I hear that statement of Mahaprabhu,
Yeah.
I always take that to be like preaching, a general instruction.
General
Don't
instruction,
think
yeah.
to take the position of guru is like Maharaj was very afraid to take that position.
No, that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing. But you're right. In general, it is to be in general. Every devotee should be trying to distribute Krishna consciousness, and sometimes that comes in a more intensive way. That I won't go anywhere else. Everything I heard from you, and I can't go anywhere else now. Then okay, let it be. There's no harm there. But it's like when you buy a second-hand car. I use this example all the time. When you buy a second-hand car and you get the V5 through the post, this is a document that says you're the owner of the car.
Like the logbook.
The logbook, yeah. We used to call the logbook. Now it's the V5, right? On the front page in big letters it says buyer beware. Buyer beware. So that means that just because you own this car, have you done all the necessary due diligence that this car is what it says it is? Sometimes there's been a crash and they weld the front and the back of a car together and make a new car, or
change the engine or something.
Yeah, or change the engine, or maybe the last person didn't finish paying off their HP on the car. The loan that they had. Yeah. Now you've got the car, that might come to you. The demanding of payment for that car may come to you. So what that means when it says buyer beware, it means it's up to you to check all those things out. No one else is going to check all those things out. So this is my feeling also, that in guru business, if you like, and Srila Govinda Maharaj said anyone can set up a chair and say I'm the guru, but it's up to each person to do their due diligence and check out that person to make sure.
Yeah, but once you come to the temple, then you Google it, then you know this guru's got videos, he's got a background.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Google is the best arbiter.
But
of
this
that.
temple is,
No, that's right. But it's told in the scripture that a prospective disciple should examine their guru for at least 2 years before they surrender to them. And similarly, the guru should examine the disciple for 2 years to see that they're suitable candidate for that.
And people told me about this temple, and I thought, it's good. So come here.
Yeah, good. But we do not know anyway. But and then we can also consult with those who have experience. This is my thinking. I'm feeling like Mahaprabhu. There's no comparison, of course. But with Gadadhar Pandit, after he met Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And first of all, he thought he was a materialist. And I was thinking, why has Mukunda brought me here to see this, like a fop, you know, means like nicely oiled hair and hookah pipe and being fanned by servants, wearing very costly silken dress and everything. But after it was revealed to him very, very clearly what was the qualification of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he thought, the only way that I can be free of that offense that I made is if I accept him as my guru. But before he did that, he consulted with Lord Chaitanya. This is my feeling. What do you think, Lord? And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, that is perfect. You should become his disciple. So, you know, then it's a very personal thing. It's not something that can be, that, you know, someone can dictate to you. You know, yeah, he's the guru here, you have to be their disciple. No, it has to be a heart-to-heart transaction when you recognize that, as much as you're able to recognize that, as much as we're able to do that. And it's a very, very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. Again, it's an example I use, is like if you decide you're going to get married, you don't just walk out into the street and grab the first girl that you see, come on, let's go and get married. No, before you make such a decision, you have to enter into some kind of relationship with them, and you know.
I wasn't allowed to do that, see?
Well, yeah.
I wasn't even allowed to see her picture.
But that's another system, though. But somebody was doing that, weren't they? Yeah. They didn't just go out in the street and drag some girl in. You know, your families, maybe you weren't involved, but your families got together and decided, we think this is a good match, right? So, you know, that's my point, is that, and that's just marriage, right? That's just marriage. So accepting someone as your guru is much more important than accepting who you accept as your wife. Because it's your connection, eternal connection for eternal life. And one should be very sure about that, as much as one can be sure. Sometimes we make mistakes, and that's also part of the learning process. But then we have this buffer, if you like, that if you accept someone as your guru, and they may be a good Vaishnava, but later on you find that compared to this person that you've just met, their devotion is not of a very high standard. We may see that, won't we? Know by our experience, we've seen people who that's happened to. But if your Diksha Guru is a good Vaishnava, I mean, you know, practicing and you know, not in a fallen state, then that's okay. Then you can get shiksha from the higher Vaishnava. There's no you can say no bar to that, or no sort of restriction to that. But we would say, we saw with Srila Govinda Maharaj, when disciples of other Vaishnavas would come to him and ask for him if he will be their like Shiksha Guru, he would say, ask your Diksha Guru if he has any objection first, because this is Vaishnava etiquette. Gurudev didn't like to tread on the feet of other people, you know, so.
Yeah, I go to another temples now and again, there are programs now and again, and I've been doing it for quite a long time, and they got a Prabhu's picture in there, and I thought it's got to be good, like, you know, and it's in Walthamstow, and
okay.
So apart from that, it's ISKCON and here.
Yeah, that's it.
And I reckon I learned from all of them, really. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, anyhow, it comes in a natural progression. It means when Shraddha develops into the desire for sadhu sangha, to associate with devotees, then that also, after a while, will mean that you want to seek out your guru, and because it's actually the first principle of spiritual life is submission to the guru. So, then you have to, like take some active role in that, deciding that. But no one can decide that for you. You have to decide that.
But you say if you want to follow all of them.
No, that's okay for when you're a beginner, but as you progress, you will understand that it's a necessity in spiritual life to have a guru and be chaste to that guru. Just as you can say, well, I go to the disco every night and I dance with half a dozen different girls. That's okay for me.
That's the old thing that is disco.
Yeah, well, you understand what I'm saying. We're older people, But eventually, a sober man will say, I can't just keep going, with all these different girls. I have to find one and make her my wife. So there's something like that in spiritual life. It's a mundane example, but the time will come when you can't just be like a spiritual tourist, like a bee going from flower to flower to flower and taking a bit of nectar here and a bit. After a while, you'll find the most concentrated fulfillment of my heart I find here, and then necessarily you'll want to find who is your guru. It may not come immediately. You might like dancing with different girls for a while longer, but eventually some necessity will come.
Everywhere I go, they all follow Prabhupada, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But you can't take initiation from Prabhupada anymore.
I know that, yeah.
So, anyhow, but we don't push people to take initiation until they're ready to take initiation. So it's part of your spiritual growth. First of all, you have to accept the creed. Some people, they're going, to the Hare Krishna temple, and then sometimes they're going to the Buddhist Sangha, and sometimes they're going to the church even, We had one boy who used to come here. What was his name? That Irish boy? The big fellow? He came here recently with his girlfriend.
He's from Ireland, I forgot his
Yeah, I
name.
know what you mean.
Yeah, he's a nice fellow, and he used to stay here. Sometimes would stay here and help. Philip, that's right. Yeah, Philip.
Mm-hmm.
So Philip, he's an Irish Catholic boy, and he would come here and stay with us. But I would see when I'm coming sometimes on a Sunday, he's going to the Catholic church down the road. I see him going through the door, and he told me one of the priests there that he became friendly with said, "Why are you going to the Hare Krishna people? Like you're a Catholic boy. Why are you going to the Hare Krishna people?" And he said, "Oh, they have so much knowledge about spiritual life, And then the priest said, "Well, at least you're not going to the Protestants."
Yeah, but like when I go to a church, it's not like to pray. Like they got a lot of these they have concerts in church.
Mm-hmm.
I just go there for that, for a concert. They got opera singers in there.
Yeah,
so it's not for praying or something.
Well, yeah, whatever floats your boat. Anyway, everybody's at a different stage of development in their spiritual life, and they may. We want to fan that. We don't want to discourage anybody, in finding their path. But once somebody accepts in their heart, this is this Gaudiya Vaishnava path of Krishna consciousness, this is the path that I want to follow, then naturally that's the first thing, accepting the creed, and then after that is accepting your master. That will come at a particular time. But what time? That's between you, let's say, or whoever, and Krishna. That'll come when it comes to you, when you feel that imperative. And you may not feel that, maybe not this life, maybe in another life, who knows? But
I've got friends who are Christians.
Sure.
I never talk about it, but they do talk about the church now and again.
Yeah.
I just listen.
No, we respect all faith, but And the reason there are so many faiths is because people are at different levels of development in their consciousness. So, you know, then they'll be attracted to a particular faith according to their inner necessity. But you know, that doesn't mean that we're going to water down anything to try and attract everybody. We have what we have, and we're trying to preach that in a faithful way as much as possible. So, anyway, the next chapter, chapter 12, is called Earnestness. So, Guru Maharaj is quoting now. If you kindly remove my blindness for a moment, I would like to see that great noble figure of yours that others have seen. No, it's not necessary for your blindness to be removed. If I just say see, then you will see me. By his will, by his order, Dhritarashtra saw without his blindness being removed. Yes, being blind, you can also see me. Despite being blind, he could see. So what sort of sight is he? He can be seen only by his order. So neither eyes nor our mental preparation backing the eye are indispensable to see him. He ordered Dhritarashtra, see me, and he could see. Without eyes or without the mentality of sight, Dhritarashtra was Janmada blind. That means from birth. He had no idea of any color or figure, but still he could see by the Lord's order. His position is such. So if we try to approach him, what should our attitude be? How much earnestness should we have to approach that land? It is easy, it is difficult. Easy because it is our inborn tendency. It is home. But now we are far from home. It is home, my own, so there is hope that I may reach there one day. It is my home, and I won't find satisfaction anywhere else. So I must go there. But I am far away from that home comfort, and there is the difficulty. I have lost that land. Jai. Jnane prayasam udapasya. Scholarship is poison. Are you ready to admit this? All your learning is nonsense. You are plodding in the mud. All knowledge of misrepresentation. Not a bag full of money, but a bag full of rocks. The brain is taxed and filled up with all misleading things. Are you ready to admit this? Not so soon. What do you say? Many of us boast of our knowledge, but the Bhakti school is striking a hammer on the head of knowledge or gyan. Rather, ignorance is better than knowledge. Can you accept that knowledge is more dangerous than ignorance? Why? Because the so-called learned are proud by comparison. They are more confident that they are holding a higher position, and to remove them from that position is very difficult. Qualitatively, they are in a position above the ordinary laborer, so they are confident of their superiority. So to relieve them of that proud superiority is more difficult than to relieve an ordinary laborer of his ignorance. I can't remember who it was that said it, but one famous person, maybe it was one of the American presidents, but he said it's more easy to deceive somebody than to make them understand that they've been deceived. It's much easier to deceive people than it is. Huh?
Abraham Lincoln.
Might have been, I don't remember, but as he said, it's easy to deceive people. It's much more difficult to convince people that they've been deceived. It's because of pride, because we think, the position that we're holding, that must be the proper position. That would be easy. It is easy to educate an uneducated person, but to educate an educated person is more difficult. He's firmly entrenched himself in his superiority, so he won't budge an inch from that position. E dudera madhye vishayi tabu bala, mayavadi sangha nohi, magi kona kala. This is from Bhaktivinoda's Sharanagati. The company of ordinary persons, misguided souls, is in the ordinary street is something better than the company and influence of the so-called scholars. That sort of subtle poison is very dangerous and difficult to remove. They're proud, thinking, I know, I hold a higher position than the ordinary man. That sort of fine ego is very difficult to remove. Ordinary persons may think, yes, we are culprits. Also, the ego of the ordinary religious man is very difficult to remove. Oh, I am a religious man. It is very difficult to cross his so-called faith and religion to give him something higher. This is the practical experience, and it is also advised in the Shastra. Vedashraya nastikya bada bhodake adika. In Chaitanya Charitamrita. Half-truth is more dangerous than falsehood. As in Shankara's Mayavad, there is atheism in the garb of theism. They say, Soham, I am the highest substance. They take the authority or the law as non-differentiated, like zero. It cannot assert. Therefore, they cannot admit, I am among the creation. They imagine it is possible for them to hold a higher position. There is no God, there's no such thing as God, who automatically holds the highest position, and all that is because ultimately there is a region of unknown and unknowable substance, and whatever there is enlightenment as a human, a wise man, he holds the highest position. We hold the highest position, but if we have to admit God, then we have nothing. If we are his created objects, play dolls, we have nothing. As soon as we have admitted God, then we are dispossessed of everything. So much renunciation is impossible. To hold that I am the absolute authority means I am nowhere. Such self-abnegation is not so cheap. Any questions? The devotee says, what can help an intellectual to develop shastric or scriptural vision? Guru Maharaj's reply. When the sleeping aspect will be awakened, the cover will vanish automatically. Intellectualism cannot be utilized, but the real causeless eternal wealth which should be awakened and strengthened, and this cover of proud intellectualism will evaporate. Karma and Gyan are only foreign covers. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Yati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahoitukim. If somebody with the help of the scriptures and his agents, the devotees or saints, we can develop our devotion, bhakti, then the proper knowledge and proper apathy towards worldly substance will follow us. Healthy, proper knowledge and healthy energy will come to follow us if the reality within awakens and we become adjusted by it. That doesn't refer to the knowledge or energy found in this plane. This is entirely distinct. Energy is the capacity to work or to move, and knowledge is to have a conception. That will come in the retinue of devotion. Sambandha Gyan, what is what? A new world will be awakened within. Misleading ideas will evaporate and retire, and the proper reading will endeavor from within. Sambandha Gyan, I am such and such to my Lord, and these are the Lord's friends, the Lord's lovers, etc. And what sort of knowledge and movement should be mine in this new environment? In this way, readjustment will come from within. The present type of knowledge and energizing will have to retire and be dispelled like darkness. Conception may be utilized only when proper conception awakens. When the professor will point out our misconception, we can learn the proper conception. In this way, you are misconceiving things. Your proper conception is this. But did you misconceive this thing for that? Yes, sir. I thought like that. Now I see the real thing is this. This is not mine. Not to speak of mine, I also belong to Krishna, my Lord. Everything belongs to him. I am not a master. I am a slave. I don't hold the position of a master, not to speak of not to speak of possessing so many properties. Even I am property to another possessor. The calculation must begin from that plane, and a new land will be found. That aspiration and aggression to think one can conquer the whole world by the atomic energy is a false notion. It is suffering human intellect to think one has a position to challenge God. God is only a superstition, an imaginary thing. We need this wholesale and radical cure. I do not belong to me. I have my eternal master. We need a slave mentality. During the time of my Guru Maharaj is preaching, one newspaper in Calcutta complained, Gaudiya Math is spreading slave mentality to the country. This is most objectionable. This will destroy the military spirit of the land, so they can't be encouraged to spread slavery. They have no patriotism. What are they? The atheists cannot tolerate the call to come hither and live in Vaikuntha. They can't tolerate the spreading of this poison within the country, and they hold that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna supported war, but that was not from their standpoint. Yada yada hi dharmasya. The Lord says sometimes the world is so thickly attacked by the atheistic influence that I have come down again to re-establish the religious environment here. The enemies are vanquished, and the good thinkers are given certain relief in their lives. I have to come. So yes, very difficult. Saraswat Thakur actually replied to that article, which was published in the Calcutta newspaper, and his reply was that slavery to the Absolute, slavery to Lord Krishna represents the highest dignity of mankind, the highest prospect of mankind. But we bulk away from that, don't we, the word slavery, because usually slavery means like some kind of terrible exploitation of another. No rights, no anything. But at the same time, interestingly, we're quite happy with, singing along to "I Want to Be a Slave to Love," aren't we? Mm-hmm. And that comes on the radio. Yeah, slave to love. That sounds good. I want to be a slave to love. So, what's that Bill Withers song? If it feels that people tell me that she's using me, but if but if it feels this good being used, then use me up. So, of course, that's a mundane thing. Some man saying to his girl, you know, if she wants to use me, let her use me up. But this is, the ideal is that we're ready for that if it's love. If it's love,
is Krishna.
yeah. So
There's probably some taste in it already. Maybe not
yeah.
high, but there is some.
Of course. So we like that idea, actually. We like that idea that somebody that we can find, that we can be completely at their disposal at any time. You know, we're ready for that. And that's because we're all searching after that person. But that person, you know, is Krishna. Only Krishna, because everyone else is going to let you down. Everyone else is going to end up, you know, getting bored with you, or, you know, like stabbing you in the back. I remember when I was a schoolboy, then one of my classmates, I really liked his sister, and so, you know, I used to like come round to his house just so I could see his sister, so when I got a little bit brave, I said to her, will you be my girlfriend? And she said, if you buy me a box of chocolates, I'll be your girlfriend. So off I went, got all my pocket money out, and I bought her a box of chocolates. And everything was fine, you know, she's my girlfriend, I'm really happy. And then she sort of cooled on me, you know, she wasn't interested in me anymore. And I said to her, oh, I thought you were my girlfriend. She said, no, the chocolates have run out. So then I thought, oh, I don't know if this is such a good deal here after all.
You should have kept on supplying the chocolate.
Yeah, well, that would have been one option, of course. That would have been one option. But you're hoping that somebody's interested in you.
Chocolates are not cheaper than jewels.
Yeah. But anyhow, so, you know, that's how it is in this material world. You know, we run after, you know, our, what do they say, our soulmate, that person who can, they say, you fulfill me, you know. Yeah, you complete me, they say, isn't it? But, you know, it's mostly an illusion. But the reason we give so much credence to that, why we like that illusion so much. An example, I remember coming home one day, and my wife and my two daughters, they're watching some romantic movie on the TV. And, you know, it's one of those stories where boy meets girl, something goes terribly wrong, the boy loses the girl because of some misunderstanding, and then finally, at the end, she realizes what she's missing, and they get back together, right? Everyone's happy. And so this stage of the film, she's left, you know, due to whatever she thinks he's done wrong. And my wife and my kids, they're both crying like anything. Oh no, like, you know. And I came in, I hadn't been following any of it at all, so I just came in. Why are you all crying? Oh, it's this film, it's so sad, you know. And I say, well, let's put something else on there. You can watch something, you know, which is happy. And they go, no, we have to see how it pans out, you know. You already know he's going to get the girl finally, you know. So, but there's something in us that likes that, you know, that likes that idea. And that's because we're all searching after that love connection. That perfect love connection, you know. And of course, in the movies, in the books, everybody lives happily ever after, don't they? But that's not our experience in this world, you know. And even if it is our experience, maybe that, you know, we're not saying that never happens. Sometimes a man and woman, they find each other and they're perfect for each other and everything's great. But sooner or later, one will die. And then that's an even worse tragedy, isn't it, you know? Separated by death. So that's the nature of this world. Everything just temporary. Our satisfaction is just temporary. And but we can't give up on it, you know. Even we know, right, statistically, any intelligent person knows, statistically, most relationships fail. Most relationships, they don't work out. I mean, it's you know, our parents' generation, they made it work, right? That was like they had some duty to make it work, you know. And even if it was, they just stayed together for the kids or whatever it was. But yeah, whatever it may be, but they made it work because it was their duty. But nowadays, where there's so much, you know, everyone's like free, so much, it's like, that doesn't work. I'm going somewhere else now, you know, I'm going to find somebody else. I see my brother, he's got 3 sons, he's married to his wife for 30 years. And then after the youngest son went to university, she said, "Oh, I'm leaving you now." He said, "What?" And my brother's a good guy. He never beat her up or anything, you know, never did anything wrong to her. And what was the reason? I'm bored. I want some excitement in my life. So she just went off to find somebody more exciting. Unfortunately, you know, the Ewins boys are quite boring, you know. We're quite boring. So anyhow, but you just see, like, this is the way things are these days. So anyway, but the point is that we're all looking for that one perfect love. And that perfect love is Krishna. And Krishna never let you down. Krishna will never say he hasn't got time for you. Krishna never says, "I'm bored with you." He's always there, waiting for us to give ourselves to him. And if we can do that with our whole heart, then, you know, then we will get the real fulfillment of our life. And it's only that we don't have enough faith to believe that, because we can't, you know, we can't see Krishna, we can't speak with Krishna, we can't, you know, discuss it with Krishna. But all of these things, they're there in the scripture, especially in Bhagavad Gita. You know, Guru Maharaj says that in no other scripture does God plead for himself, plead his case to us, like Krishna does in Gita. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuro mami vaisyasi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. I mean, Krishna says, give your heart to me, bow down to me and worship me, be my devotee, and surely you will come to me. And I promise you this, because you're very dear to me, priyoshime, you're very dear to me. Krishna's saying that to us. He's telling us that. And that gives us so much hope, that as much as he's full in himself, as much as he has no want for anything, we have nothing that we can offer him that he doesn't already have in bucket loads. But he wants us to give our heart to him. He wants us to give our love to him and become his devotee. And he says, if you do that, then definitely you'll come to me. This is my promise. Arjuna, if you can't believe me, then who are you going to believe? It's a wonderful thing. And many similar verses in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That verse is in the 18th chapter, but there's a very similar verse. The first line is exactly the same in the 9th chapter as well. And many places Krishna puts himself out on there, on the line. Yes, I am the master of everything. Everything is controlled by me. Everything enters into me. I'm the origin of everything, the master of everything. But still, I'm friendly to you all. I have your best interest in heart. And Krishna his nature is such that he doesn't even have one iota of vindictiveness in his nature. Only love. He's like the all love. Then we can say, I'd be quite happy to be a slave of such a person. Because you know that that kind of slavery is like more than we can even aspire for, actually. What can you aspire for in this material world? Nothing, really. Everything comes to zero, ultimately. And we're just running around, getting a bit here and a bit there, to give us some satisfaction, like bees, going from one flower to another flower to another. But we're never feeling really satisfied. Then, when we come in the jurisdiction of Lord Krishna, then all of that begins to change. And the first thing that the real change begins when we understand that I am for him. Not that he is there for me. And that's also there, but that's the predominant relationship that people want with God, is that he should be there for me. Give me this, give me that, help me with this, help me pass my exams, help me become wealthy, help me become successful, all of these things. We want him to be there for us. But that's not really, in fact, not at all, any kind of pure devotion. I maybe told this story before. I had a friend that I used to work with, and he was a Christian. And he would say, every week we have a prayer meeting. We all meet together and we pray for for help for our friends and relatives and so on. And we know that, you shouldn't pray for anything for yourself. So, before that we have a pre-prayer meeting, and before we go into the prayer meeting, I say, Dark Age Prabhu, what do you need? And they say, well, I could do with a new car. And my daughter's taking her maths exam on Monday, and it would be good if she could pass that. And then Dark Age Prabhu say, and what about you? What do you need? Well, I need some, I'm a bit low on the cash for the rent this week, or, whatever it may be. Grandma's not well, so then they say, okay, so then they have their prayer meeting. And I say, oh, Lord, please give Dark Age Prabhu, his new car and the money he needs for this. And in return, he's praying for the things that I want. So I said to my Christian friend, and I said, and is God fooled by that, do you think? He said, well, what do you mean, is he fooled by that? And I said, well, you're saying that you shouldn't pray for anything for yourself, but you're trying to get around that, aren't you, by having your mate pray for you? And do you think that God falls for it? And he's like, oh, I never thought of that before. So, the reality is he already knows what we need, And generally, I can say from my own life experience, the things that I want aren't usually the things that I need, and if you get them, maybe you get some vicarious thrill for a while, but as it says in the scripture, these things, they start off like being nectar and they end up as poison in the end. But real pure devotion, Mahaprabhu has given a standard of real pure devotion. That is, whether you embrace me or whether you treat me roughly or whether you're completely, indifferent to me. Whatever way you wish to treat me, you're still my Lord unconditionally, birth after birth. Now, this is real devotion. I don't want anything from you. I just want to be able to serve you. And if you want to give me anything in return for my service, just give me some more service and give me the capacity to do that more service. Already he knows what you need. This we find in the case of Sudama Vipra, isn't it? They were school pals together, Krishna and Sudama. Sudama was a Brahmin, and later on in his life he got married and had a son, but they were very poor. They were very poor, and the children used to tease him because they couldn't afford milk. They would grind up chalk in water and tell him, "Would you like some milk?" You know, they'd say to the boy. And the boy would come home and say, "Oh, Daddy, I had milk today." You know. Anyway, the mother and father, they both know that it wasn't milk that they gave you. Then the wife says, "Oh, this is terrible, you know, like we don't care for ourselves, poverty or anything, but for our son, it's unbearable for us. And we can't even afford to give him a glass of milk." Then, isn't your school friend Krishna? I heard he's living in Dwarka now in a great palace surrounded by so much opulence. But if you went to him, I'm sure he'd help us. You know, it's like... Then Sudama thought, yeah, I would really like to see Krishna again. Then he agreed with his wife, yes, I'll go and see him. But even then he's thinking, I don't have to ask him anything. I just want to see him. That would be like perfect, to see him again. So he's about to go and his wife says, but you have to take something for him. You know, you can't turn up with nothing in your hand. You have to give something, a gift to him. What have we got? She searched and searched, found nothing. All she could find in their kitchen was some flat rice and some yogurt. So she mixed that together and wrapped it in a small cloth. You can give this to him. Take this, give this to him. It's nothing, but it's what we have. So off he went, and eventually he comes to Dwarka, and he's invited in, and Krishna treated him so happily. Krishna bathing his feet, massaging his legs. Rukmini, his queen, and she's fanning him. You know, they're giving him the VIP treatment. Nobody gets that kind of treatment, and he's like floating in ecstatic joy just to see Krishna again. You know, then he remembered, oh, my wife said I should ask him for some help. He said, but do you know, I really can't do it. I can't ask him. And then before he was going, Krishna said, but brother, didn't you bring something for me? Did you bring anything? And he's ashamed, you know, seeing Krishna's opulence and everything there. He's ashamed. And he said, no, I didn't bring anything. Krishna says, well, what's that you've got there on your tied to your dhoti? No, it's nothing. No, let me see. And Krishna forcibly snatched it from him and opened it up. Oh, you're hiding this from me. Then he begins eating. Oh, so sweet. Such a sweet dish I never had before. Oh, it was wonderful. And you didn't want to share with me? Oh. Then this way, their meeting ends happily. But still, Sudama didn't ask Krishna for anything. He's just like blissfully going home to see his family. He's not even like thinking, what am I going to tell them when I get back? He's just like floating in the ecstasy of being in Krishna's company for some time. And when he gets to the top of the brow of the hill, where he lives, and as he's cresting the hill, where his little shack was, with his wife and son, is not there anymore. There's this great palace, like one of Krishna's palaces that he just was in Dwarka. And standing outside that palace is his wife, but looking like Lakshmi, and his son, you know, dressed so nicely, and they see him coming, and he's like, he can't understand. He's thinking, whoa, did I take a wrong turn? Is that my beautiful wife? Is that my large automobile? Like he can't believe what's happened. So then he understands, oh, this is the mercy of Lord Krishna. I didn't even have to ask him anything. And then now he's given me this. But you know what? When we heard this story from Srila Maharaj, we'd heard the story before, but when we heard from Guru Maharaj, he said, it wasn't now that he thought, you know, like, okay, party time. You know, most of us would be thinking that right now. We got all this opulence, everything, party time. But he said, Guru Maharaj said, he accepted all of those things from Krishna with his service-centric heart. With a service-centric heart, he accepted those things. Not for his own pleasure or gratification, but only how he could utilize them in the service of his friend Krishna. And that's a wonderful thing. So, we don't need to ask Krishna for anything. He already knows everything that we need, better than we do. Sometimes we think we need something and we don't need that thing at all. In fact, that thing becomes a great burden to us, a great trouble to us. Guru Maharaj would say, he'd say, I just want to live a very simple life. And sometimes when something comes to me that seems to be like complicating my life, I want to do away with that thing, I don't want it. I want more like simplicity. I'm a very simple man. And so he said, when all of the Western devotees started coming to see Guru Maharaj, he said, when so many people, I becomes besides myself. He said, and so you may say that Sridhar Maharaj is a very cruel man, but I say to you now, you can't live with me. I can help you as much as I can help you, but you'll have to find somewhere else to stay. You can't live with me. As my nature is, I just want to move in a small circle and discuss the higher things of the scripture. That's what I want to do. And that's everything to me, and I don't want any like big fame or position, or I don't want that. It frightens me. I'm not fit for it. He said, I tell you plainly, I'm not fit for any type of grandeur or opulence. I'm not fit for that. So you go and live somewhere else and come and see me, and I can help you as much as I can help you. This is a sadhu. When we came to Guru Maharaj, we'd all grown up in ISKCON, and Srila Prabhupada's philosophy, and it's right, is, like the very best for Krishna, So everywhere of the temples are crystal chandeliers and gold this and gold that and everything. And when we came to Guru Maharaj, everything is like so plain and simple, And so somebody was asking about, offering opulence and everything for Krishna. And Guru Maharaj said, yes, that's all good. He said, but there are those who love poverty. And that devotee was like, what? Love poverty? Guru Maharaj said, yes. And that was his nature, Guru Maharaj's nature. He didn't have any fancy anything. He liked to live very simple life with no opulence or grandeur or anything. In his last days, we wanted Guru Maharaj to have in his quarters air conditioning. He was so difficult for us to persuade him. He's saying, no, well, they will say, oh, Sridhar Maharaj has air conditioning. And we are saying, no, Guru Maharaj, they won't say that. They'll say, oh, it's really good. Sridhar Maharaj has air conditioning. He can live comfortably, his last years and so on. And finally, he accepted. Okay, if you insist, then I'll accept. Where most of us, when you're in India, that's what you want. Is there AC here? Put the AC on, crank it up. No, not Guru Maharaj. Anyhow, Guru Maharaj is a kind of archetypal sadhu. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, not at all archetypal sadhu. He is like almost like an avadut. He can go anywhere, go everywhere, mix with anyone, mix with everyone, with no problem at all. We're different, but the same. So, okay, so we didn't quite start the next volume. We can begin that next week, all being well.
In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a Sridhar, devotee of Lord Gauranga. He's very poor as well.
Kolavecha Sridhar, yes.
Kolavecha.
Yes. He's just Kola Vecha means seller of bananas. Kola means banana. So he used to make his living from bananas. So he'd sell the fruit, he'd sell the leaves, because they make like plates from the leaves, and the flour. They have flowers on the banana tree. In Bengal, they make curry from that, called mochaganta, very famous. Mochaganta. And anyway, that's what he would sell and make his living like that. And Mahaprabhu, when he was Nimai Pandit, little boy, he would come there and steal all the best things from him. And Sridhar, he couldn't refuse him. And finally Mahaprabhu said, all my life I've been stealing from you. Yes. But you know what? In the West, it's very difficult to live a simple life. You have to have a lot of money if you want to live a simple life. Because it's just, everything is complicated, right? Everything. Even if you think, I'll just go and live in a cave somewhere. When you find yourself a cave, wait a few months, there'll be somebody knocking on your cave. Well, let me see the paper that allows you to live in. Have you paid your cave tax? Or, isn't it? Very difficult. But anyway, we're not trying to imitate, but we're trying to follow in the footsteps of those great souls. Form and substance. We want the form. The substance is couched in the form, so the form can be disposed of if necessary, but not the substance. Like Guru Maharaj would use the example of the nose and the breath. So you may have a very beautiful nose, and people do pay a lot of money to have beautiful noses, don't they, nowadays? Go to your plastic surgeon and they have a catalogue of noses that you can choose. I want that one. It's called rhinoplasty. They're giving you a new nose. Rhinoplasty sounds awful, doesn't it? And but if you can't breathe through that nose, then it's completely useless. So Guru Maharaj would say, even if we lose our nose, and I met a man once who had lost his nose. He used to wear a prosthetic nose, but if he took it off, and it was like with magnets, it was like go on by magnet, and he could just take it off, and there's just this hole into his face where his nose was, quite disturbing. But if you can breathe, even without that, if you can breathe, then you can live. So the substance is the all-important thing, not so much the form. The form has some importance, but we should not mistake one for the other. So I think it's time for the arti now. And I saw Dayanidhi Prabhu was here, grinning at the door. Here he is, beautiful Dayanidhi Prabhu. Yeah. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi.